Good afternoon. Please be seated. All right. You all are a beautiful bunch today. I think we need to do one more round of applause to celebrate our graduates. Yeah. My name is Patrick Sims. I am the Vice Provost and Chief Diversity Officer. And I head the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement. And this is our first ever commencement ceremony for the division. Now, before we came out here, I had a chance to connect with our graduates. They look so lovely, won't you agree? And I gave them a challenge, and I said to myself, I would probably be limiting the capacity of this challenge if I only told them, because the reality is they may have to hit up a couple of y'all out there to help with this challenge. And the challenge is simple as this. I told them that given the fact that we think about how we pay it forward and how we create opportunities for those who are coming after us, we recognize that it takes resources to do something like this. And more important than the resources, we want to demonstrate the value of what it means to pay it forward. So I asked the students, I said, all right, y'all got to work with me. I told you that if you could raise at least $1,000 for our graduates that are in this space, I would match it, right? And we have 4 programs that are affiliated and represented with us today. So we have our Posse program. Yeah. We got our first wave program. We got a people program. And we got the program that's been around for a while, our CEO Trio program. Now, if I do the math right, I'm out 4 G's on this. Right, now I told them I ain't got it like that, but I'm willing to make the commitment. And more importantly, I hope that you will make that commitment with us. So mom, dad, cousins, aunties, uncles, to the extent that you can, please help us meet this challenge to pay it forward for our next graduates and the graduates after that, that this is a commitment that we're saying we recognize you, we love you, and we want you to know that when you leave this institution, you are a Badger, right? And being a Badger means that you have a certain amount of ownership. Now, I know if we were at a HBCU, a historically black college or university, y'all already been paying dues, right? So we'll give you that much. So anyway, I want to welcome you all to our first ever, but certainly there will be more of divisional commencement ceremonies. We are thrilled that there are 9 deans and deans representatives that are here to help us honor our graduates today, and we wish to acknowledge and thank them for being part of this event. Now this, mind you, we have several ceremonies going on, so they found the time to be with us today, and I want to recognize these folks. At this time, I'd like to introduce, and you can help me just by waving your hand when I call your name, so folks know who you are, they can shout and love on you. I'd like to introduce Dr. Jim Campbell, Associate Dean of the Division of Continuing Studies. All right? Let me get through all the names, because we might be here for a while if we keep clapping up to everybody. Next, I'd like to introduce Lynn Cleland, Assistant Dean for Academic Affairs and Director of the Rush, Rural and Urban Scholars in Community Health from the School of Medicine and Public Health. Dr. Gary J. Essenmacher, Associate Dean, Letters and Science, Student Academic Affairs. Dr. Mel Freitag, Director of Diversity Initiatives, Assistant Clinical Professor in the School of Nursing. Steve Hahn, Assistant Dean for Admissions and Academic Services, the Graduate School, and Interim Vice Provost for Enrollment Management. Dr. Nancy Matthews, Professor, Gaylord Nelson Institute for Environmental Studies, Director of the Morgard Center for Public Service, the School of Education. I'd like to introduce Carmen Reamer, Student Services Program Manager, Office of Academic Affairs, School of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Manuela Romero, Assistant Dean for Student Diversity and Academic Services, College of Engineering. Last but not least, Suzanne, because she told me to make sure I said Suzanne, because it's with an S, it looks like Susan. But Suzanne Tran, Director of Outreach and Recruitment, Student and Academic Affairs Office, the School of Pharmacy. All right, yeah. Now I get to introduce my peeps, the folks who are affiliated with the division. So I'd like to introduce to my right, Dr. Ruby Paredes. Now we can clap for her. Yeah, we can go and clap for Ruby, right? Yeah. She's Associate Vice Provost, and my other good colleague, Dr. Eric Williams, Assistant Vice Provost, right? And immediately behind me is this lovely lady here, Dr. Leslie Ann Petard, our Divisional Research and Program Associate. Yeah. Now, to my left are the divisional program directors who work directly with our students. So please, I'm gonna ask you to hold your applause because I want to get through all the names. But Dr. Kirk Malner, Director of the Center for Educational Opportunity, better known as CO. My brother from another mother, Willie Nay, Executive Director of the Office of the Multicultural Arts Initiatives in First Wave. Yeah. Jose Madera, Assistant Dean and Assistant Director, Academic Advancement Program, Pathway Student Academic Services Representative. Jacqueline DeWalt, Executive Director of the People Program. Albert Muniz, Director of the University of Wisconsin-Posse. All right, now we know who all the players are, and you know who you're working with. I got a couple of more things to share with you before we proceed with the ceremony. Now, in your program, there's information about what the gowns and the colors represent, so I won't go over that for you, but take a look at it. The colors are significant. It's a representation of the work, the hard effort, and pride that's been put in to this academic enterprise. Our young people have been with us for the last 4, maybe 5 years, and for those who are super seniors, maybe 6 years, right? We have an opportunity to welcome the newest addition to the division family, our Pathways coordinators. We want to acknowledge our Pathways program. They're going to be working with us. We have multiple students who are in more than one divisional program, which is why you will see some of them wearing more than one stole. On with the festivities. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote, Brother M.K. Asante, who is give it up. He's a best-selling author, award-winning filmmaker, hip-hop artist, and professor who CNN calls a master storyteller and a major creative force. Asante is the author of the critically acclaimed memoir, Buck, described by Maya Angelou as a story of surviving and thriving with passion, compassion, wit, and style. And when you see the brother get up on, he got some bad shoes on, so I kind of want to check him out a little bit too, but he got that style. Buck is a Barnes & Noble Discover Great New Writer pick. His other books are It Gets Bigger Than Hip Hop, Beautiful, and Ugly Too, and Like Water Running Off My Back. Asante directed The Black Candle, a prize-winning Starz TV movie. He wrote and produced the film 500 Years Later, winner of 5 International Film Festival Awards, and produced the multi-award-winning film Motherland. Asante studied at the University of London, earned a BA from the Lafayette College and an MFA from the UCLA School of Film and Television. This is a bad boy, y'all. Asante has toured in over 40 countries and has lectured at Harvard, Yale, Stanford, as well as hundreds of other universities. He was awarded the key to the city of Dallas, Texas. He has been featured on the CBS Early Show, NBC News, BBC America, and NPR. Asante's essays have been published in USA Today, Huffington Post, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the New York Times. He recently made his debut as a hip-hop artist on the song Gods in the Hood featuring Talib Kweli. His inspirational story, The Blank Page, is featured in the #1 New York Times bestseller, Chicken Soup for the Soul, 20th anniversary edition. Asante is a tenured professor of creative writing and film in the Department of English and Language Arts at Morgan State University. Now, I have to tease my brother because he looked like he's one of the graduates right now. And I'm looking at this, I'm reading this thing like, how old is this cat? Well, he's old enough to know what he's talking about, and we're thrilled to have him with us. Please, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for M.K. Asante.
Congratulations, y'all. Thank you for that introduction. I'm so happy. You know, this moment, actually, when I was watching all the graduates, I was thinking, you know, if you can see all this and not be happy, then something's wrong with you. Because it's like, you know, it's like when you see a newborn baby. It makes you smile. I mean, when you see all these faces, all these people, all this hard work and energy that's gone into this, it makes me happy. So I want to just congratulate all the graduates. Let's give it up. And not only the graduates, because I know you didn't do it alone. Let's give it up for your families, your friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés, you know, husbands, wives, whoever supported you on your journey, grandmas, grandpas, everybody, cousins, aunties, you know, it's a family affair, it's a village. So I want to acknowledge everybody. I want to also acknowledge the faculty and administrators who are committed to diversity and setting off this inaugural diversity graduation. I want to just thank all of you for putting all this energy into it and bringing me here all the way from Philadelphia, New York, Philadelphia. So I want to say some things to you today from my heart. I'm going to talk from my heart and just share some things with you, impart some things as you go on this journey, and we're all on this journey together. I want to first tell you a story that I think is really symbolic of kind of how I look at the world and how I think, you know, we should all kind of see things. I was in this prison one time. I've traveled to lots of different countries. I spoke to lots of different people, universities. But this one time that was one of the most profound times was in a prison. right? And so I was doing a creative writing workshop in this prison, and you know, I'm from Philadelphia, you know, I'm from North Philadelphia, you know, graceful survival against impossible circumstances, right? So I was outside of Philadelphia, and I'm working with these brothers in prison, and one guy in particular was like the most amazing writer that I'd ever seen. I mean, he was just so gifted with words. He was eloquent. He was passionate. I was really impressed with him as a writer. I was just taken to his whole style. And when we finished the workshop, I was allowed to go see the cell block where the prisoners spent the bulk of their days and nights. And this guy's name was Jordan. I remember I was going down to the cells, and I'm looking at all the cells and all the cell blocks and everything, and I get to Jordan's cell, and immediately, like, it hits me, it's something different about this dude's cell. And I couldn't figure it out at first. So I did a double take, still couldn't figure it out. So I did a triple take, still couldn't figure it out. Quadruple take, what happens if you do a 5-time, what's that called? Anybody know? There you go, I did that. So I did 5 times, right? And finally, it hits me, what's up with this dude's cell? And immediately I get enraged. I start getting angry, right? Because here's this brilliant, you know, writer, brother who's got this great mind, and here they are dehumanizing him, right? They've taken his bed from his cell. Won't even allow him to sleep, right? And so I get enraged, and I'm like, yo, man, you want me to do something about this? This is an injustice. I'm pissed off. You know, I'm from North Philly. We can take it there, you know what I mean? So that's how I feel at this moment. I'm like, what's up, man? And he looks at me and he starts laughing. And he goes underneath his bunk and he shows me that he has this little flimsy mattress. He says, nah, man, I got a mattress. He says, I just don't sleep on it. Really? Nah. So what you sleep on, man? Oh, I sleep against the wall. I sleep on the floor. I sleep on the steel frame. Anything, but not on that mattress. So now I'm like thoroughly confused, right? Like, why he got beef with the mattress? You know what I mean? What did the mattress ever do to you, man? Like, I don't get it. And so I ask him, you know, that question, why? Right? And that's the question that's like behind so much of what we learn is why, right? Or where? Why? So why? Why don't you sleep on that mattress? And his eyes get real intense, and his body fills with disquiet, and he walks up to me and he says, brother, I don't sleep on that mattress because I can't trust comfort in a place like this. He said, comfort in a place like this numbs you to the reality of where you really are and why. So for Jordan, sleeping on the floor, on the wall, the steel frame, all of that reminded him in that raspy voice of reality where he really was and why. It kept his mind stayed on freedom. So I started thinking about that after that moment and thinking about what that means, not just for Jordan, but for all of us, right? And I started to take principles and ideas from that journey, from that story, right? Like, for example, we can all of us never get too comfortable, right? Never get too comfortable. Never get to that place where you can be in a jail cell sleeping calmly on your bed, right? Never get too comfortable in all these different fields that you all are gonna go into, right? Always keep challenging, always keep pushing, always keep that mind stayed on freedom. The other thing I started to think about after that was, okay, so what happens once you kind of wake up, right? You know, because I started to see myself, my role as an artist as, you know, the job is to really remove the mattress from underneath our slumbering selves and wake people up, right, as an artist. And so I started to think, well, what happens after we do that, right? What's the next step in this journey? And for me, it came in the form of a mantra. The mantra is real simple. You know, I'm an MC, so a lot of things I say rhyme. This mantra rhymes, right? If you make an observation, you have an obligation. If you make an observation, can we do that? Can we say that? If we make an observation, you have an obligation, right? So observation, obligation. It's real simple. It just means that when we see things that need to happen, instead of just complaining about it or talking about it, we actually become a part of the solution, right? So you know, people ask me about different projects that I've worked on, right? And it always starts the same way. It always starts, how come we don't have a book that does X, Y, Z? How come there's no movie that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? How come there's never been a da-da-da-da? And then the answer is always the same, because you haven't done it yet. So you can look around this world in all your different fields and think about, how come there's no organization for this? How come there's no, conference for this? How come there's no whatever it is, right? How come there's such an injustice in this, right? And the answer is always the same. You haven't created that yet, right? And so that kind of became my charge, observation, obligation. I want to share with something to you that my granny told me about. First, I'll just say, on the road to success, many obstacles. I remember when they said it wasn't logical, when they was like, it's really just improbable. And then they told me my dreams were impossible. But now it seems, look at us, we're unstoppable. Number one, do the math, untoppable. Just warming up, we still got a lot to do. Look in the mirror, ask, really, who's stopping you? Nobody, from the lobby to the rooftop. So now I influence you. No flu shot. Newton's law of motion. It means we don't stop. Acceleration, celebration, we made it. I still remember North Philly, them dirty basements, pavements, blank pages where the pain went, to pavements backstage, we world changing. Living the dream, UW, say grace, amazing. So my granny, I want to share something that I think is we could all use in our lives. We can all use in our careers. We can all use in our journeys as we move from here and go on to the world. My granny told me about these quilts. She told me about these quilts that her great used to make, right? Ancestors, long time ago. These were African-American women that were enslaved. And they would make these quilts. And she's told me about these quilts, and when I started to think about the quilts, I came away with these 4 ideas that I think we could all use in our lives and that are really important, right? So the first thing about the quilt is back in the day, we didn't have one big piece of cloth, right? We're talking about slavery, right? So there's no big piece of silk or cotton, right? You have to get scraps from everywhere, right? And so these women, they would get scraps from everywhere. They would get a piece of denim from here, a piece of rucksack from here, a piece of cloth from here, all these different things, and they would unite. You know what that's called? That's called the maximization of minimal resources, right? The maximization of minimal resources. That's called turning nothing into something. That's called spinning wax into gold, right? That's called being resourceful, right? That's called not being wasteful. Right? And so we all need that. And so I started to think about what are the things that I can incorporate in my journey as an artist, right? As a writer, as a filmmaker, as a musician. But these are things that can be incorporated into all your journeys, right? Resourcefulness, right? Maximizing the minimal. What's the second thing about the quilt? Well, the second thing is it's beautiful. It's made up to the highest aesthetic standards. So even though they were enslaved and they didn't have this and they didn't have that, they never sacrificed on the quality, on the beauty, right? On the craft. They mastered their craft, so it was beautiful, it was vibrant, it was colorful. It inspired you just from looking at it, right? What else? Well, these quilts weren't made to just hang on a wall somewhere and not be paid attention to, right? Quilts have a practical function. It gets cold at night. And so this is a quilt. This is a piece of art made by these women who are enslaved that's beautiful and resourceful. But not just that, it can keep you warm. It could save your life in that sense, right? So here you have this piece of art that's beautiful, it's resourceful, it's practical, right? It has a functionality that's everyday, right? What else? What else? What else? Well, when you really start to study these quilts and these women, it's amazing. You realize that these women would embed, right? They were enslaved, and they would embed these symbols in these quilts. And if a regular person saw it, maybe you wouldn't know what it is, right? But if you were down for the cause, if you was really, with the cause, you would know that those symbols weren't just random symbols, right? They were maps that actually showed you and illustrated where the nearest safe houses were along the Underground Railroad. They were maps and guides to show you how to read the stars so that you could escape the plantation and get free. So here you have a piece of art made by Black women who were enslaved, right? That's resourceful, that's beautiful, that's practical, and it's emancipatory. It can actually get you free. art can get you free, right? So as you go into your fields, whatever they are, think about those principles. Think about what you can do that's resourceful, what you can do that brings beauty and truth into the world, what you can do that's practical and functional and adds value to people's everyday lives, what you can do that can liberate people. Those are what they did, and they were enslaved. So what can we do, right? That's one thing, and I ask that question, what can we do? And people ask me all the time, you know, what's up with your generation? You know, the old heads stop me and they like, yo, what's up with the young bucks? You know, y'all wilding out, man. And I'm like, you know, it makes me think of another story. You know, there's this lady in Philly, this is my last story and then I'm gonna conclude. This lady in Philadelphia, her name is Miss Sally, and these kids came to her door one day, and she was blind. Miss Sally was blind. These kids came to her door one day. I always wanted to do that. Kids came to her door one day and they say, Miss Sally, we have a bird in our hand. Is it dead or alive? Now, Miss Sally is blind, so she can't see, but she has vision, and that's different, right? So Miss Sally kind of gazes out into the distance, and she says, children, I don't know if that bird is dead or alive. There's only one thing that I know. The kids are like, what's that, Miss Sally? It's in your hands. Whether you choose to let that bird fly to new heights that we haven't been seeing, or whether you crush that bird, it's in your hands. So our generation, will we carry on the legacy of our ancestors and take it to the next level? There's only one thing I know, UW, it's in our hands. Thank you so much for listening. Congratulations. Much love to y'all. Peace.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to follow that with an inspirational speech. That's y'all's job right there, okay? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Eric Williams, and it is my duty to kind of tell y'all, or for you all to get a feel of what's going to be going on here this evening. As many of you know, each of the students that are here today are members of one of the academic success programs here at the University of Wisconsin. These programs are represented here by their directors. We have the Center for Education Opportunity, or CO. We have our First Wave program. We have Pathways. We have our People program and our Posse program. Each of these programs have played a big part in the lives of the students while here at the university. Also, the students have played a big part in the lives of the program. And so today, what we want to do is honor this mutually benefiting partnership. As you can see in your programs, a student representative from each of the programs has been selected to say a few words on behalf of the other students in that program. What I want to do now is introduce the first unit director, Kurt Melner.
First off, happy 20th anniversary to CO. Give it up here, 20 years. And special congratulations to our 20th graduating class. All right. These CO students have high GPAs. Several will go on to graduate school, professional school, and all of them will go on to great careers. Tonight we have Andrea Bonaparte. She's a first-generation college student from Chicago, Illinois, just close by. Andrea has made her mark on the UW-Madison campus. She is a recipient of several academic and leadership scholarships. She is involved in several co-curricular activities focusing on social justice, student inclusion, and mental health equity. Andrea studied abroad in Venezuela, and in fact, her dream is to one day make Venezuela her permanent residence. Andrea has been an active participant in the CO program, served as a CO mentor, and has been on the Dean's List several semesters. Please join me in welcoming our CO speaker, Andrea Bonaparte, to the podium.
Okay. So let us give a round of applause to the CO Director, Kirk Mandler, and to the CO staff. Woo, woo. If someone would have told me 5 years ago that I would be one of 5 students to deliver the commencement speech at the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement graduation ceremony, I would have A, laughed in their face, and B, asked, where the heck is Madison, Wisconsin? Growing up on the far south side of Chicago, the only college exposure that I received was from the late 1980s show known as A Different World. So for me to be standing up here and graduating from this fine institution is very surreal, and quite honestly, I'm still soaking it all in. I'm asking you all in advance to bear with me as I try to contain my excitement during this speech. My name is Andrea Bonaparte, and I'm a part of the Center for Education Opportunity Program, better known as CO. I'm graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Social Work, Spanish, and a certificate in Gender and Women's Studies. Earning a degree is definitely going to open up numerous doors of educational and employment opportunities for me. However, I did not struggle for 5 long years just to rep UW-Madison. Instead, I poured out sweat and tears for all of the misguided youth and adults back home in Chicago. Since the beginning of the new year until May 13, 2014, 567 Chicagoans have been shot and wounded, and 99 Chicagoans have been shot and killed. Where I'm from, guns, gangs, drugs, and poverty is much more common than a high school diploma or a college degree. Therefore, this degree is not just for me, but it's for their mother who lost her son too soon because of gang violence. It's for their grandmother raising her grandkids because their mother is strung out on drugs. And it's for all those people who thought first-generation, low-income students of color from the inner city couldn't make it. But look at us now, we made it. This journey was definitely not easy, but it's programs like CO, First Wave, all right, Pathways, People, and Posse that was integral to my college success and the success of the beautiful graduates that sit before you all today. 20 years ago, in 1994, Assistant Dean Walter Lane had a vision to create a student assistant program to help students from low-income and disadvantaged backgrounds. With the assistance of Dr. Brenda Failer, who became the first director of CO, Dr. Lane turned his dream into a reality, and he created the CO program. Now, CO is not your ordinary student support program. CO provides more than academic support. In a nutshell, CO operates sort of like a family, where Ms. Wilma and Kirk are like the head of the family, and they make sure that all of their CO students are well taken care of in all aspects. Let me tell y'all, Ms. Wilma don't mess with her CO students. The CO academic advisors, professors, and specialists and staff are like the loving aunties and uncles. They are the warm and gentle smiles after a long day of class and work. They are the ones who can magically squeeze you in that one lecture class that closed after your enrollment deadline. They are the ones who can make your resumes and study abroad applications look bomb.com. And they are the ones who can fax and photocopy that last-minute financial aid document by the 4:30 deadline. And we, the CO students, we're like the diamonds in the rough. We are the ones whom people said we should not and could not make it, but our CO family knew that we should and we would. We are the success stories that Dr. Lane and Dr. Failer dreamt of 20 years ago. So today, we are not only celebrating our graduation, but we are celebrating the 20-year legacy of CO. I want to personally thank the CO and Posse programs for assisting me to graduate in the top 20% of my graduating class. To be a Benjamin A. Gilman Scholar, an International Academic Program Scholar, the Vice President of Living Waters Praise Dance, the opportunity to study abroad in Venezuela, the confidence to be a house fellow, that's very hard, and the support to further my education here at UW-Madison as a master's student in social work. I am extremely proud of these accomplishments, but most importantly, I want to thank these programs for giving my fellow peers and myself a space for us to be just us. Okay, so I don't think I could hold my excitement in any longer. So please, at this time, will all CO students please join me to walk across the stage?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Willie Ney. I'm the founder of the Office of Multicultural Arts Initiatives and the First Wave Hip Hop and Urban Arts Learning Community. Give it up, give it up. I have a really great honor and privilege to introduce this amazing young man who came to our program. He went through a lot of challenges and amazing hurdles through his own personal life and transcended every single one of them to come out with a degree in chemistry at UW-Madison. He has a job waiting for him for Teach for America in Louisiana coming up here. But beyond those things, he has a heart of gold. He's a mentor to so many students, has volunteered in the community, stays up late at night supporting other students. He's an emblem and a symbol of our community and our community spirit that we have within the First Wave community. And I want to give it up for the staff of the DDEEA for this event, for the deans being here, for all the students and the parents. And just know that this student coming before you is going to go on to great, great things. So let's give it up for Elton Ferdinand III.
Hi. My name is Elton Fitzbernal Ferdinand III. I am from Brooklyn, New York, by way of New Amsterdam, Berbice, Guyana. New Amsterdam, Berbice, Guyana. A few years ago, you would not hear me say that to a large group of people. That was because when I would say I was from Guyana, people would mistake it for Ghana and go on rants about their trips to South Africa. When neither is Guyana near Ghana, nor is Ghana in South Africa. So because of that, I would just say I was from Brooklyn. But Guyana is in between Venezuela and Suriname, which even I have to Google sometimes to remember. Because when you claim one part of your identity for so long, it is easy to forget the other. And that's why I wouldn't bring Guyana in with me to the room, because it was easy. But nothing worth having, worth keeping, worth owning is easy. This university, our scholarship programs teach us this. It teaches us to make our own space. As the third cohort of First Wave, we came at a different time, where there was much more scrutiny for us being a hip-hop theater ensemble, and there were more questions of if we were going to make it to our fourth year or even our fifth year. But struggle is nothing new to hip-hop. Hip-hop is making something out of nothing. But look at us now. We are going into our 8th unquestionable year. We have made a permanent space. This year, I am the only black man graduating with a chemistry degree from the And this is a very interesting feat, considering when I was a freshman, an advisor told me that I shouldn't major in the sciences because I was in first wave. Because first wavers, artists, aren't good at the sciences. But look at me now. I stand here to prove that wrong. I stand here to pioneer the idea that you can do anything that you want to do. And even as a freshman, I went on to found the Wisconsin Association of Black Men with some of my closest friends, to give black men a space on campus to network and to mentor each other. This year, I'm going to South Louisiana as a 2014 Teach for America Corps member. There, I will help students make their own space, and I'll be better for them and them for me. This is what it means to create your own space. It means to pay it forward. It means to bring all of you into a room or found a program so important like First Wave, to show young artists that there's a place for them in higher education. To make your own space is sometimes difficult. It requires difficult conversations, such as the consolidation of ethnic studies departments, and thinking about what that means, or no longer calling names at graduation, forgetting that some of us carry our families, our friends, our states, and our countries when we walk across stage. When we walk across stage and shake the chancellor's hands, it is thinking about what that means. Despite all our struggles, we have made a space for ourselves. From this point on, know that there will always be more challenges. Never forget what you have learned here, and when questioning why you, ask yourself, why not you? Who will educate? Who will be the leaders of tomorrow? It has to be you. There is only one person in this world, and someone out there has to learn from you, and only you, whether it be good or bad. It has to be you. This is what it means to tell those younger than you that they can make it too. To tell your mother and grandmother, thank you. To show gratitude to those who help us earn our degrees and the founders of our program, thank you. To tell Ade, thank you for all her unquestionable support for our program. But know that when it comes to making your own space, there must be a willingness to fight for it. And with that, may all first wavers, all you rappers, poets, artists, and educators, please take this stage, this space that we have created for ourselves. Thank you.
Let's give another hand to the first wavers. Buenas tardes. All right, muy bueno. Gracias. I'm here representing Pathway Student Academic Services and representing the newest minted crop of graduates from Pathways Student Academic Services program. Thank you. Pathway Student Academic Services units are based on the values of engagement, empowerment, and community. It has been instrumental to preparing our students to become outstanding leaders who are engaged locally, nationally, and globally, and at the same time contributed to the vitality, wellness, and cultural and ethnic makeup of our institution, all the way from the heart of our institution, the College of Letters and Science. They have learned what they have thought it was impossible. They know that it has been possible. They have discovered their own capacity for excellence. Approximately 32 Pathway Scholars are scheduled to graduate this year, and they will be graduating from almost every single major and school and college here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. History, international studies, English lit, art, environmental studies, Spanish lit, you name it. Pathway scholars like Terry Mansfield, our Fisher graduating scholar, are already making a difference. All will be pursuing a combination of postgraduate opportunities, such as graduate school, professional schools, jobs in the public, corporate, and nonprofit sectors, becoming teachers, and also becoming competent, thriving, energizing, creative global citizens. In just one word, Badgers for life. Taryn, our Fisher speaker, is earning a bachelor's degree in arts majoring in political science and gender and women's studies. Originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where's the people from our sister state? She's a total embodiment of the Wisconsin experience. She's been involved in many campus programs, student organizations, community-based initiatives, and services to students. She's been a peer mentor in the Center for Academic Excellence as well, in which she assists first-year students in their transition to UW-Madison. Taryn has gone above and beyond her role as a peer mentor to help students feel connected on campus, and also assisted them in obtaining academic support. She is a well-rounded individual whose knowledge and skills have been gained through a liberal arts education, which will provide her with a competitive edge and position to succeed in any company or organization and or postgraduate programs that she will pursue. We're very proud of having Taryn as a student graduate representing the Pathway Students Academic Services. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, peers, Taryn Mansfield.
You get a strange feeling when you're about to leave a place. Like you'll not only miss the people you love, but you'll also miss the person you are. You'll never be this way ever again. Now, you can look at this quote in two ways. On somber days, the future may seem too big or too bright to even try to wrap your mind around. The present isn't much better. It is filled with overwhelming decisions, unanswered questions, discouraging disappointments, and sometimes it just feels like the past took its place and you feel like you haven't grown a bit. But then there are those days, you know those days, when the universe finally acts like it remembers your name. Those days when you ace an exam or a person compliments you on the outfit you literally just threw on. You get a challenging answer correct in class or you find $5 on the ground. Those are the days that you may take for granted, but they balance out the days you probably want to forget. Hi, my name is Taryn Mansfield. I'm a Pathway scholar who majored in political science and with a certificate in gender and women's studies. My future plans involve obtaining an MBA and JD for sports entertainment, law, and business. But in the meantime, I will be working for Target Corporations as an executive team leader starting this fall. Thank you. Over these past 4 years, I have to say I've learned some things. I've learned that when it's literally a blizzard outside, don't even think about taking the 80. I've learned that if you pull an all-nighter, get ready for a 5-hour power nap the next day. I've learned that you can never take an ugly picture with Bucky, and that summers in Madison feel like a little piece of heaven. I've learned that a great professor is one that instills faith in you and makes you believe that your dreams are possible, while equipping you with enough knowledge to go out and conquer them. I've learned that traveling leaves you speechless, but turns you into one of the most enthusiastic storytellers. I've learned that joining an organization, joining the right sorority, for instance, can encourage you to not only be a trailblazer for your community, but for communities far and wide. I've learned that giving back and volunteering is what life's about. Remembering that lifting as you climb will help you reach unimaginable heights. I've learned that mistakes absolutely suck. But they are the things that will motivate your greatest growth. I've learned that a cell phone can feel like the only real connection to home. So sometimes you hold it tight, just because you know that on the other side, you'll find unconditional love. Thanks, parents. I've learned that your friends become your family. They become your rocks, your foundation. They're there when you win, but even more importantly, when you don't. I've learned that being a Badger means more than being a scholar. It means being a warrior, on and off the field. Pathways has helped me grow in many more ways. As a Pathways scholar, I felt initially welcomed as an African-American woman on this 40,000-person campus. I was not only greeted with the warmest smiles and most beneficial advice, but I was given mentors who stuck it out with me through the good and the bad. I loved it so much that I worked for the Center for Academic Excellence the next year, just because I wanted to give back to a cause that was centered around encouragement, empowerment, engagement, and community. Pathways was there for me when I felt that I could only walk. Now that I'm running, I will always give thanks to the ones who were there to see me take my first steps. So, there are 7 things that I would hope that for you to remember. Number 1, always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and loved more than you will ever know. Number 2, don't forget to count your blessings. They might help you fall asleep more than sheep ever will. Number 3, it will never get easier, but you will get better. Number 4, do what makes your soul shine and your heart smile. Number 5, you will inspire. Don't ever let that be a concern. Number 6, you attract what you are, not what you want. If you want great, then be great. And for the lucky number 7, be patient with time, with your surroundings, but most importantly, with yourself. As a graduating senior, I urge you to take in this day. Remember those 7 things, and most importantly, that whenever you find yourself doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you've already come. Once you have done that, you are well on your way to becoming a champion. Good luck and congratulations. At this time, would Pathways students please join us to walk me across the stage?
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline DeWalt. I'm the Executive Director of the People Program. People is a 2nd grade through undergrad degree completion diversity pipeline for underserved students within the state of Wisconsin. One of the primary goals of our undergraduate students is to ensure that they have access and fully engage with what we call the Wisconsin experience. And this includes first-year interest groups, research, study abroad, internships, campus and community service, and early preparation for graduate school or the workforce. Today, we are celebrating the accomplishments of People scholars who did just that. Our class of 2014 represents 42 scholars, 36 majors, 6 certificates, 7 world languages from 9 schools and colleges. These students have participated in study and service abroad in 8 different countries, presented and published their research in 7 publications, volunteered in 26 locations, conducted internships at 24 sites, and served as members and leaders within 64 student organizations. And some of our graduates will be continuing their education in such graduate fields as school psychology, special education, history, pharmacy, physical therapy, and law. Some will be contributing to society through participation in such service-oriented organizations as public schools and Teach for America. But others will be entering the professional workforce as business analysts for Target, software development for Intuit, Hardin Design and Development, Epic Systems, and in other capacities at various corporations. The journey of our class speaker also reflects these same Wisconsin experience values and goals. Tonight, I have the distinct honor of introducing one of our most outstanding People scholars. Lisa Rosildo. Lisa is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Legal Studies. She has been very active on campus and in the community. She participated in the undergraduate research scholars program, a service learning project for Porchlight Inc. She volunteered at the Veteran Health Administration, Wills for Winners, People, and Ashland Middle School, where she mentored Native American female students. Lisa is a member of WUNC-SHEIC, Students for Equal Access to Law Schools, Washington Interns for Native Students, and Vice President of Alpha Phi Omega Sorority, Inc. She has held 2 internships, one in Washington, D.C., with the General Counsel of the Department of Veterans Affairs, and a second one at the Sustainable Business Intern with We Can Serve. After graduation, Lisa will attend the Pre-Law Summer Institute at the University of Mexico Law School to prepare for her graduate studies at the University of Arizona James E. Rogers College of Law. She plans to use her law degree to work in international indigenous human rights, environmental law, and federal Indian law. Last but not least, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Lisa is the first in her family to graduate from college. Her accomplishments have motivated her mother to go back to school and her brother to start. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming one of our graduating People College scholars, Lisa Rosildo.
Bonjour. Nagisi ko Indigenous Cause. Lisa Indigenous Cause. Shagin Mashimo. Migizi and Dudum. Mushkazibi Ijinikade Ijinikoden. Anishinaabe and Dao. People Gikino Amagoyan and Dao. Okichidakwe and Dao. Hello. My name is Eagle Woman, and my English name is Lisa. I am from the Bad River Reservation, located in northern Wisconsin. I am Anishinaabe, and I am Eagle Clan. Most importantly, I am a people scholar. I've never questioned that I couldn't do something. I come from a long line of survivors, from ancestors who battled the US government from removal of our homelands 200 years ago, to my mom, who was diagnosed with cancer at the beginning of the year, and has since completed all of her chemo and radiation treatments. Thank you, Mom, this is for you. Yes, I come from survivors, but I have not just survived, I have prospered. From my academics to my paid internship in Washington, D.C., where I was able to attend meetings with the White House, stand inside the West Wing, and meet the top official on Native American affairs on the presidential administration. In fact, I even had the opportunity to stand on the lawn where Obama was going to deliver a speech just 3 hours later. Though I decided that going to the reception, where I was given the title of Best Networker by my fellow interns, was more important. Yes, I have made mistakes. In fact, that was probably the best networking opportunity that I missed to date. But the principle of being chosen as the best anything by my peers was an honor that I held close to my heart. However, I have not always been the person that I am today. I am from a community where drugs and alcohol are all too accessible to a child entering middle school. Before the People program, I had found myself at a crucial turning point. I could continue down the path that I was on, or I could change my life and do everything it took to become a People scholar. I chose the later and have spent the last 8 years becoming the well-rounded woman and scholar that I am today. Thank you, people, for changing the game, for crossing seemingly uncrossable borders, for coming to reservations throughout Wisconsin, and giving Native students the opportunity where they thought they had none. Thank you to those who support the program, the students, and our vision. My 8 years in People have taught me to be the best that I can be and to always stay ahead. Just 9 days after I graduate, I will be beginning my legal career ahead of my peers through a competitive summer law program at the University of New Mexico Law before I attend the University of Arizona James E. Rogers College of Law on a full ride offer. There is a study that out of every 100 Native students, only 50 graduate from high school. Out of those 50, only 10 go on to pursue higher education. And out of those 10, only 2 graduate from college. Of those 2 college graduates, only 1 pursues graduate or professional school. Although I could celebrate being that one student, I cannot, and we all need to do better. In my traditional teachings, we are taught to think ahead to the next 7 generations before we act. In my sorority, Alpha Pi Omega, we are taught to make the path wider and better for those who follow. In People, we are taught to lift as you climb. In my language, we have a word, Wewusiago. Dictionaries will tell you that this means to take care. Fluent speakers, however, will tell you that it means so much more, to step carefully. I ask that you do all of these things as you continue on from graduation today. At this time, would all People scholars join me on stage?
Good evening, friends and family, loved ones, campus partners, guests, and especially the graduates. My name is Albert Muniz, and I am honored to be here on behalf of the UW-Madison Posse program. As the director of the Posse program over the last 4 years, I've had the great privilege of watching this year's class grow from eager incoming scholars to experienced and accomplished student leaders. I'm about to introduce one of them to you now. Dantrell Cotton came to UW-Madison in the fall of 2010 as part of our 9th Posse from Chicago. Because I began my time with Posse at roughly the same time that Dantrell arrived on campus, I was able to witness firsthand his wonderful development as a scholar, a leader, and a young man of great character. Although I surely can't say enough good things about Dantrell, I don't want to steal his thunder tonight, and plus, when I asked him what accomplishments he wanted me to highlight, he said, keep it brief, I'll do it. But before I bring him up here, I just want to say that Dantrell, I see him as a top academic performer, a multi-talented musician, a leader that his peers aspire to emulate, and someone who never fails to bring a smile to the faces of those around him. I consider myself lucky to have been part of his experience at UW-Madison, and I'm confident that he will go on to many bigger and better things. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present to you tonight's student speaker for the Posse program, Mr. Dantrell Cotton.
And they saved the best for last, y'all. So, when you think of Posse, you think of many things. You think of leaders, activists, scholars, active in extracurricular activities, and the life and the heartbeat of any space we occupy. As Posse scholars, we are a model and a mold for success, just like my fellow peers out here. But over the years, we've had the chance to share our stories and our journeys, our stories of triumph and our stories of setbacks. For some, Coming to college was the scariest thing you've ever done because you're the first, and I commend you. For others, Posse gave you hope. It inspired you to speak up for your communities. Though we love repping it and we love doing our city and year, shout out to CP9, it's bigger than that. Our drive to continue at the bleakest hours come from our families, our coaches, our friends, our neighborhoods, and the leaders for tomorrow. So I ask you to think back to the first day that we walked into that first round interview. I'm sure we all remember that person that was doing the most. It could have been me. It was, don't do that. They seem more qualified than us, but somehow we were selected. And I think that's the beauty of Posse. Where we saw inadequacies, Posse saw a masterpiece. Where we told ourselves, I can't, Posse said, you must. And despite what we thought of ourselves back then, I think Posse was thinking about days like today. I think they foresaw us being those presidents of student organizations, community organizers, artists, and academic achievers. I believe when others said, we'll never graduate, let alone succeed at UW, I believe the Posse was like, all right, bet. But I think back to something personal for me, December 7, 2010, and that was the day I went to my advisor and I told him I wanted to drop out. But you fast forward 4 years, and now I'm an undergraduate ambassador for my major, a Wisconsin alumni, scholar, Dean's List every semester, studied abroad in Costa Rica, and now I'm attending graduate school, the very same place I wanted to run away from. And did I mention they paying for it, y'all? Thank you. Thank you. You see, for some, the Wisconsin experience entails relishing the beauty of the terrace or uniting as everybody congregate together to sing Varsity and for the football games. But for me, it's a bit different. It's a bit more personal. My Wisconsin experience take me back to my very first Posse Plus retreat where it was one piano and we was all gathered around there just singing away and away because we realized that at that moment, music had a chance to unite us and to unify us as one. My Posse experience take me back to being able to speak, being asked to speak at the White House, in which I'm pretty sure I improvised the whole thing. My Wisconsin experience take me back to recognizing folks like Emily Hofacker. She's a New York mentor and assistant director for STEM initiatives. Emily went above and beyond the call and duty, you all. She stayed up countless hours and literally helped me edit my personal statement as I applied for grad school overnight. Folks like Albert, Emily, and Ida, they remind us that we're not alone in this journey. More importantly, just to make it a little more personal, my Wisconsin experience take me back to September 29th, 2011, and that was the day my father passed away. And Posse, you all dropped everything, especially CP9. You dropped everything to be with me. When I felt that life was sucked out of me, you were there for me. And I still remember Hadil offering up a prayer for me, so I thank you. On that day, it was all of our problems were gone, our frustrations with each other had withered away, and we remembered the power of being united as one. So thank you. So in 1989, our Posse founder, Debbie Beal, she launched a vision that many thought was probably outlandish, foolish. But look at us 25 years later. We're receiving national recognition from President Barack Obama, a multitude of awards, and an influx of new partner colleges and universities each year. But I don't have to merely talk about Posse from this large national statistics standpoint. Let's personalize it. We argue, we fight, we laugh, we cry. We probably did it today. But one thing about Posse is we celebrate the success of our own. I'm gonna say that again, we celebrate the success of our own. So do me a favor, at least for today. Don't worry about what you'll do tomorrow, because breathe, we made it. Don't worry about your summer plans, breathe, we made it. So you don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow or next year, who does? Breathe, we made it. I want you to look at the person next to you, and this is for anybody sitting in the room. We made it, and tell them, you made it. Over the years here, Posse, have allowed us to remember that we're not alone. We're a community, we're a family, we're Posse. So at this time, will my fellow Posse graduates please rise as we crip walk across this stage? Thank you.
Now this is interesting. This is interesting because when the Chancellor first announced that they were going to do something different this year with commencement, I know a number of you cornered me, came to my office, knocked on the door, and said, no, 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 we don't want that, right? Y'all raised, well, let me make sure they streaming things, so I gotta watch what I'm saying. But you know what you did? You expressed your concerns, right? But I put it to you like this. If that change had not happened, we would never have had this experience. And I don't know about you, but if you've been in a commencement here at UW before, I feel like it's a little better than what we used to have. Yeah? With that said, now y'all got to do me a favor now. Show up tomorrow, all right? I don't want them saying we done stole all the black kids and they won't participate in the main. So do me a favor, show up tomorrow. Embrace your full Badger experience. I think we had no idea what was going to happen today, but we realized that there is power when we get together. There is power in numbers, there is power in unison. And more importantly, that power is going to be magnified tomorrow when you stand in the presence of all the graduates of UW-Madison. So please, recognize that. Step into your glory and receive it. To everyone gathered here tonight, and those of you who are watching on the internet, it has been our pleasure and our privilege to work with these graduates. Whether you entrusted us with your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, or sibling, wife, partner, cousin, grandchild, or a former student, we've never taken that for granted, and we sincerely hope you're happy with the result. With your support, they've grown into college alumni today. And given where they came from to get here, the graduate studies, job, travel, long-term plans are indicative of a generation well prepared to handle the future, meaning we all can retire in peace. Right? I got a little ways to go before I hit retirement, but I said, man, I wish I was as smart as that when I was an undergrad. Some really brilliant people who are with us today. But there is another thing I want you to know about these Badger graduates. We heard it before. They lift as they climb by caring for one another, learning from those ahead of them and reaching for those behind them. You've studied, you've taught, you've mentored, you've parented, you've ventured out, and you've grown up together. To the graduates, watching you has been like seeing a living Jacob's ladder evolve. You are indeed magnificent. You hear? You are magnificent. Better than magnificent in all the big and small ways that matter. Your parents, your teachers, and mentors were so proud of you. I know at times it may have seemed like you were all alone, but you know where you come from. These younger students are watching you. They're following you. They're emulating you. Don't let them down. Becoming alumni is like entering the 18th grade. I'm gonna let you think about that for a little bit. I got a few years in there for those who might be in that 5 or 6 year plan. Right? See, you seek your fellow Badgers in the world ahead of you, and most importantly, you don't forget how you made it through. So I ask that you be there for those walking in your footsteps. Look back, come back, be a mentor. Point the way to the internships, because one day you just might be the person making that final decision. Check in. And when and if you can, I said this before, y'all better write a check. But that's after you've attended tomorrow's ceremony. You party like Badgers do, you folded and stored your program in stoles and hung your degree on the wall. For now, the best to you and congratulations. 2014! So, our reception, we started a little late, but we're all right, we're gonna be all right. Our reception begins immediately out in the pavilion with food, seating under the tents, and music, yo. We got a DJ out there. So we're going to savor the moment. We're going to celebrate. We're going to hug on you. We're going to love on you. We're going to take some pictures. We're going to have ourselves a good time. Graduates, class of 2014, please stand. If you would, please move your tassel from the right side to the left side. Now, the way this is going to work, folks, the way this is going to work, we're going to sing our alma mater, Varsity, so will everyone please stand? And before we exit the building, or rather this room, I'm going to ask that family members, our guests, please remain in your seats until the graduates have left this room. Also, as I said before, we have DJ join us in the pavilion for the party. So to the folks who have the music cued,